Hello, good students in Adjus 122. This is Dr. Rick Ramos, and I'm going to be doing a short video on how to conquer the case brief, specifically the Stull case. So I'm not going to give you all the answers. I'm just going to kind of lead you through this so you kind of have a organizational structure in your head as you start, because I believe that students, once you give them a recipe for success, they can follow it. So let's make that happen. The first thing you need to do is get into your assignments area and get to the Stull case. And there's some information there for you. First thing we need to do is download Stull. And we're going to be looking at this particular piece. We'll pull it over here and then look at our case brief template, which is a Word doc. I'm going to open that up. And that gives us a breakdown. And so in here, I want you to see that this particular format just gives you an outline. And all you're doing is juxtaposing things from here to the right to the left. Some of this stuff is pretty simple, and I'm going to give you a couple of them. Like, obviously, what's the title of the case? Well, I would just look over here. And this is going to be the title of the case. And this is what is called your call number, right? Because this was published in a legal in a book, in a reference book. So Stull versus the government of the Virgin Islands versus Stull. This is District Court of Appeals for Virgin Islands, and this would be the doc number is going to be doc 280. It's in the federal supplement on page 60 in 1968. So that's going to be your title. What's the type of the case? Well, look at the first line. Can you see something in there that he was in trouble for? So it says appeals for a conviction of simple battery, right? Pretty simple so far, right? Then we start to get a little more complicated with facts, correct? And one of the things that I tell you is, if you look at the video earlier, we don't care about all these people's names. So when we're talking about facts, we're going to refer to the defendant as D, right? And you should say who D is. So it says the D is a what? He's a manager of a bar. So I would simply, put that in. He's a manager of a bar. V is Matthews, right? So D is Stull and V is Matthews. So V is a patron, or is an unruly patron, looks like. And I'd get rid of this. Get rid of this underlying stuff because it's going to drive me crazy. Okay. So now I've told who the two people are, because it gives them both standing for being there. Then just tell the story of what happened. Don't get too bogged down in this, right? So Stull heard a disturbance in the upstairs barroom. Henry sees sees V. So D heard a disturbance in the upstairs barroom, and then he goes upstairs, and D is standing at the bar arguing with the patron. He tells him to leave, and V objects. Basically, he says no, I'm not going to go, and he grabs him by the arm and let him out the door. There's all this other minutia, which is crapola, that's here that you have to look at. That Ron Lucas also testified that there was a large argument, and maybe some question of credibility of testimony of Stull and his employee, because they work together, right? But the thing that you have to realize here is but the court actually accepted it, because the guy said he kicked him, right? The victim said he kicked him. And the court here says, no, we don't think so, because we're going to drop it from aggravated assault. That was the original charge, down to simple assault. So what that tells me is I can ignore all this, because it doesn't matter. You can state it in the facts, but don't make it part of your issues, because it's already been resolved by the court. In other words, you can't say, did he kick him? Well, here they don't believe he kicked him, so don't even go there. It just muddies up the waters, right? So you need to move all that stuff over here. Then on your issues, some of the things that you need to do too is look for rules. And this looked like a pretty good rule here, right? So you would take that all and cut and paste it in total. Here you could summarize. You can make it short and sweet. Look, I made this really short for here, and probably could get 2 more sentences and you'd be done. It's just facts, ma'am. Nothing else. So, here it says the owner or occupant of a person in charge of any public or semi-public may request departure of a person who's not rightfully belonging there, whose conduct has forfeited his right, and therefore may treat him as a trespasser using reasonable force. This is important, right? because reasonable force then is part of this law. So when I'm formulating my issues, I'm going to use this and change this into a question regarding this, cross-reference it. So something like, so does D fall into this area? And I'm going to let you make that question up. Does D's actions and all this fall into this area? Is reasonable force used? Was the person's conduct forfeited? Did he have a chance to say, no, I don't want to leave, right? So then when you write that question, you already have your rule. Now you have discussion. Discussion answers your legal question. Make sure this issue right here, this should be in the form of a legal question. If I don't see it in a legal question, you're going to lose points. It means I better see a question mark, right? And then when we get down here into discussion, answer the question, right? Did he have the right to ask him to leave? Did he forfeit his rights? Did he use reasonable force? All of those things that cross into this law need to be answered here. This is a long answer. You could cut it down, make it shorter. The holding is translation disposition. And under disposition, what we mean is that what happened with the case. So the types of dispositions that you'll have is upheld, overturned, partially overturned, or sent back to trial court for new trial. Because remember, this is a court of appeals. They just deal with any violations of rules and regs, etc., etc. The trial court deals with questions of fact. Who did what? Who has guilt? Who assigns guilt? So hopefully this helps you out, and now you understand what I want. Make sure, I just need name, course number, and your name, right? Course number and the semester. And you should be able to move along with this. So I expect you guys to get this in early, because I expect to grade these, give them back to you, and then I'll probably do some sort of a video, or I'll do something in Cyber Cafe responding to what the issues are. There's so many of you, I'm just going to be clicking on the rubrics. Then I'm going to go back and in general talk about why I gave certain grades, and this is how we're going to operate. So please make sure you're paying attention to announcements, because this is where I'm going to put these movies to help you along the way, and then I'll embed them in after the actual assignment, just so you can see them. All right, have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. And I think we've got the course down to who's left and who's not. So talk